Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in to Triple Aqua from the West. I'm Mermaid Christy and hope you're having a great day today and glad you decided to join me today on my YouTube channel. So today I want to talk to you about how important it is to draw a line in the sand. Yes, draw a line in the sand. Basically all it is setting boundaries, healthy boundaries between you and other people. And I'm going to take for instance, that I can easily express because it's something that I've had to do in the past, where I usually am flooded with a lot of creative ideas, and it's not because I'm special, it's just because I'm open to it, and so we all can do this. And so I get all these great ideas, and I'm not very good at articulating them sometimes because I'm thinking way faster than the words can come out eloquently or smoothly, or just so that people can understand. And people tend to be a little impatient, so they don't really want to listen to you and then come up with a conclusion. Because a lot of times when you're talking, that person you sparked a creative idea in them because of your creative idea, and then all of a sudden they're thinking about how, yeah, that's a good idea, and you can do this now, and you can do that now. And so then what happens is your passion or your idea, and I'm not saying don't take advice from other people, especially the people that work with you closely, because it is important to hear everybody out. But what I mean by drawing a line in the sand is staying true to your convictions and what you know that idea, that vision needs to be. Because if you don't do that and you let other people persuade you and steer you, then what happens is that idea, that project will not be as successful as it would have been if you know what's right and you have stayed the course. Now, when do you know to draw the line in the sand? Well, it's easy. Let's just say you're putting an idea out there and you're talking to one person, several people, take it however you want. And all of a sudden, this one has a good idea and that one has a good idea, and you can implement those ideas. So you take this one, put it in your back pocket, take that one, put it in your back pocket, and those ideas are working and they're gonna gel well with your creative idea. Because let's face it, we all work better as a team. But then there's those ideas that come in and all of a sudden, well, we should do it that way. And then everyone else agrees, but then you know that that's not the vision you have, or that's not where it needs to be. Say no. No is a complete sentence, and it's drawing a line in the sand, and that's where it stops. And how do you know that? Well, you will know. Your body will tell you. Your mind will tell you. I mean, you just start feeling uncomfortable, want to squirm, and you get tense up a little bit, and that's not really what I want. But what happens is a lot of times we'll go along with it because we get discouraged a little bit, because maybe we thought, well, maybe that idea wasn't that great. Or you want to go along with the crowd and fit in, or just be a people pleaser and make everybody happy. Don't do that. Because if the idea came to you and you have the vision for it, and it doesn't mean that you're going to get there all by yourself, and you could, it would just take you a lot longer. But with your team of people or your friends or your person that's going to help you, know that you have to stay true to who you are at your core and what that idea and what that vision means to you as the bigger picture for the long haul. You know, when I first started my festival, planning for my festival, and a couple summers ago, I had met a group of people, and they were involved in a lot of different events, and I remember one of them saying, well, it'll be great, the people coming down and, getting body painted, and they'll be topless mermaids. And I said, no nudity. We're not having any nudity. And I remember somebody in the group saying, well, you're not going to be able to stop it. And I said, oh, yes, I will. And the reason is, if I had not been so specific about the nudity, then it would have just spiraled and gotten out of hand and then become something that wasn't G-rated for families and for everybody. Now, I'm not saying that stuff isn't you know, what other people want to do, great. There's other events for that. There's other things for that. But I had to draw a hard line in the sand. And I remember another person in the group saying, well, that's ridiculous. You're going to change your mind. And I haven't changed my mind, and I won't change my mind, because that's not the vision that it had from the beginning. And I remember it making a lot of waves, because one person thought it should be more adult, and I was like, no, it's family. But at the end of the day, I put my heels into the ground and I stood firm, and I didn't let it sway me. I didn't let it put me out of my element, but I knew it was wrong. So I right then and there, so it didn't escalate, I drew that line in the sand. Now we can also use this all the time when things don't sit well with us. Rather than sweeping it under the rug or pretending it doesn't happen, draw a line in the sand. Sometimes it's verbally, sometimes it's just energetically, where you just back off and you won't put up with it anymore. And believe it or not, whether you say it, your actions always speak louder than your words. So as long as, whether you verbalize it or just take yourself into a different direction and draw that line in the sand, you will develop healthy boundaries where people will respect you. Because and you've heard this before time and time again, you teach people how you want to be treated. So after a while, when people know you, they'll know that when you say something, it's because there is a method to your madness. And now what I mean by that is sometimes people don't understand, like me. I have all these ideas, and I'll listen, and then there's ideas that I don't like, or I don't think that, it's not that I don't like them, I don't think that they work with the bigger picture. But then once I explain what the method to my madness is and why, then everyone's on board, or the person I'm talking to is on board, because we also need to express ourselves why we have decided to draw a hard line in the sand and say no, or just energetically no, especially if we're being asked. Sometimes you don't always have the opportunity of telling somebody why you pull back, but they'll figure it out sooner or later. People are very smart, and usually quick studies to those things, unless they're just not interested in you at all. And that's okay too, because maybe they're just on to something else. We are all on different frequencies and energy fields. So your people will get you. The people that are vibing at the same vibration as you, they'll get your ideas, they'll understand, and they'll also respect you, and they'll hear you out as to why you had to draw that hard line in the sand and stay firm about it. So practice drawing that hard line in the sand, or just a line in the sand, and not going with the flow, not being a people pleaser, not being persuaded or a pushover or a doormat. And as long as you do it in a healthy, communicative way, you're always going to be successful, because you are staying true to yourself and to your convictions. And then therefore the idea, the project will be successful. And like I said, pay attention to your body. Your mind will say red flag, nope, don't like that, oh, that'll be the day pigs fly, you know, or you just feel uncomfortable and you're like, you tense up a little bit. Pay attention to all of that. Don't just like, oh well, I'm defeated, nobody likes my idea, okay, because you didn't give that idea an opportunity to really flourish into something beautiful, because at the core of it, you had the seed of intention. So you have the responsibility to do something with that seed. You know, are you going to nurture it the correct way, or are you just gonna flip it over your shoulder and maybe it'll sprout, maybe it won't? So know that when you have a creative idea, thought, or just anything, you can use this in anything in life. I'm just using ideas and creative thoughts. Know that when you feel that you need to set a boundary, do just that. So I'm going to pull from, also like, share, and subscribe, please. And I'm going to share, I got this yesterday and it's so pretty. It's Chakra Wisdom Oracle Cards, the complete spiritual toolkit for transforming your life. And it's really neat. I really like it. It comes in this nice box. And but one of the things I really like about it, and I was telling a friend yesterday, is in the tarot, the Fool is 0 card, and the whole idea of the tarot is the Fool's journey and how the Fool grows and develops its spiritual gifts and becomes wise, and eventually becomes, if you're a masculine energy, the Hierophant; if you're a feminine energy, the High Priestess. But then you have to go through being a page, being a knight, being a king or queen, to being the emperor, the empress, and then you get to the magician. I think the magician and the Hierophant are almost the same. But anyway, this is the Hermit, and so the Hermit is enlightened, but the Hermit is really, and all the cards, the back of the deck is the same. So the Hermit, just to tell you a little history on that, if you're not familiar, the Hermit is basically the Fool, but a lot older, because when in the Fool card, the Fool's represented like this person with all of these beautiful clothes and this little tiny stick, which is really the sticks are wands for passion, but the stick with this little knapsack with his earthly treasures and possessions, and a dog. Well, later on in life, as the Fool goes to the journey and learns all of these lessons and starts growing spiritually, becomes the Hermit with clothes that aren't that fancy, not carrying anything now, just a stick, because the worldly possessions aren't important. How society sees the Hermit, or how the Hermit's dress, is not important. So the Hermit's left all the worldly treasures, because the Hermit's wise and knows that what their mission is, what their journey is. So I don't know, that's kind of cool. If you want to read about the Hermit, it's pretty neat. It's going inward rather than more about a 5D, where you are more spiritual and you're not worried about all the 3D ancillary stuff that doesn't matter, and you can't take in the U-Haul behind the hearse. So I'm going to pull from this, and let's see what message we get that can correlate with drawing a line in the sand and setting healthy boundaries for yourself, for your ideas, for your relationships. So it looks like we're moving along in our phases of quarantine. Yesterday I got to go out, and there were some stores open, and it was nice to see people in the stores actually shopping. I just went to go window shop, but just to see people out, it felt really kind of back to normal, besides the mask that we have to wear. But it was just nice seeing people kind of living the day to day like what we used to be doing before we got put in timeout. All right, so I don't know why the card don't want to, oh, almost. Let's see, couple, whoa, okay. All right, thought too soon. Okay. Cool. So this card is the renewal card. So, gosh, she looks really kind of in the Hermit's energy herself, just going inward and renewing her thoughts, renewing her ideas. But let's see what the book says, because I'm not really familiar with this deck yet. And let's see what renewal means in the deck. All right. Ah, cool. This is perfect. Okay, so the renewal card is inspiration. And that's what we're talking about, like when you have inspired ideas, creative thoughts, and personal inquiry. Am I positive in the face of change or defeat? And am I ready to step into the new me? And isn't that what drawing a line in the sand is? It's kind of like letting people know what you stand for, who you are, and not being ashamed or worried that you're not going to be accepted or fitting in, because it's just who you are. And you are showing people and teaching people about what your healthy boundaries are. And key ideas is another one that goes with this. And then the key words: regeneration, awakening, and fortune. And isn't that right? Like, if you stick to your conviction, you will reap the fortune that comes from that idea. And it's really, really neat. So much more in this. There's also even a meditation that you can implement. But yeah, this is really, really neat. So I hope you like that, and you learn to practice renewal. So when things aren't working and you need to draw that line in the sand, start over, hit the reset button and say, no, let me take a step back, or wait, let me put the brakes on right there, and practice renewal. Thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.